The Saskatoon Food Bank Garden Patch is almost unrecognizable from how it looked just a few months ago when we were first down here planting the seeds in our Shaw garden plot. Of course, it's now time to harvest all that delicious looking produce. We have beets, we have carrots, we have onions, and as you can see, the Shaw team is busy pulling up all that produce. But throughout the summer, there is so much that happens here at the garden. So on today's show, we're going to learn more about that as we celebrate another successful season. It's all coming up on today's show that starts right now. Coming up, Jolene from the Food Bank tells us why the garden is so essential for our community. And with the Huskies football season kicking off, we meet two players who are as good at hitting the books as they are opponents. Community groups and organizations are down at the Food Bank Garden Patch ready to harvest their plots. And as I take a look around, it's been another great year. Every year, the Garden Patch holds a wrap-up barbecue to thank participants and the community. Simon Hyatt was here for this year's event, and he brings us more in our first story.
That means it's really deep.
Oftentimes, parents aren't thrilled when their kids come home covered in mud.
You can brush off the dirt. Put them in a pile.
But Sheena Davis couldn't be more pleased that Eli is getting his hands dirty.
I really want to show my kids that they need to give back in our community because the community helps us so much. And it's a really good learning experience for them.
Davis and her family have made trips to the Saskatoon Food Bank Community Garden a regular part of their routine, as they have planted and now are harvesting food that will help people in need.
Well, they really love it because they get to meet a lot of great people here, and they get to learn about the different kind of plants, and the edible flowers is a favorite with them. They've never seen that before.
The turnout for this year's end-of-season barbecue at the garden is yet one more indication that this is a place that grows far more than just vegetables.
We do lots of education and workshops that are all free to the community, and so it's really a place that people can come and learn, and it's more than just the food that's going out and the garden itself. It's the community combining, and yeah, it gets quite magical, if you ask me.
Among the groups that embraced that magic this year was the Turning Points program at the YWCA. The organization provides long-term transitional housing for women who need a safe place to live and make changes in their lives.
Quite often they're on a limited budget, so they have to use the food bank for food periodically. So this was an idea that we came up with for our clients to give back to the food bank.
And taking ownership of a plot fits in well with the Turning Point's mandate that clients must make an effort to form connections in the community. It's also become a friendly competition, as staff at the YWCA also tend to part of the garden.
Our clients have decorated their plot with little lights and all kinds of cute little things, and the staff have gnomes along there. The ladies have really enjoyed having programming outside for the summer instead of in-house. So every Wednesday night we're here doing Weedless Wednesday and harvesting our crops as they grow, and it's been a fun summer.
I washed a bunch of these in there.
And as Eli, Jana, Alanda, and the Turning Point's clients pull the last of the vegetables from the ground, they are also harvesting good feelings, as the produce will make a significant difference for people who rely on the food bank.
The food here, it's harvested and it goes right over the food bank that day, and it's given out that day, if not a little bit left over for the next day. So that fresh food, it's so nutritious. It hasn't sat on a truck, so it's going out to people who are able to cook it up that night.
For Go on Shaw TV, I'm Simon Hyatt.
More than 20,000 pounds of produce will be coming out of this year's Food Bank Garden Patch. All that produce will be going to community members who need it in our city. Joining me right now is Jolene from the Food Bank. Jolene, how will the produce that comes out of this garden help the people you serve?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, 20,000 pounds of produce is going to go into a lot of emergency food baskets and bring a lot of healthy, nutritious food onto the tables of Saskatoon families. So this is amazing.
Is there a big need here in Saskatoon for fresh produce like this?
Of course, yeah. I mean, our need is big all year round. We actually see numbers going up every month. So to have this food come in now, the summer can be kind of a slow time for the Food Bank and Learning Center. People are on holidays, people aren't in their normal routine. So we do sometimes find that donations go down a bit. So this is kind of perfect timing to have all this fresh, nutritious food come in our doors.
And when you see families come down to the food bank and get all this fresh produce, veggies and fruits, what type of feedback do they give you about this opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. They're, obviously grateful for having this fresh food. Admittedly, maybe some of these funny shaped squash or things they're not as familiar with. Some people maybe aren't used to cooking with beets or something like that. So we do sort of try and include some information about what they might do with some of those ingredients. But the more food in the basket, the better. So we're happy to be able to provide that, obviously with the support of the volunteers that come out and work in the garden.
Absolutely. Now, you are newer with the food bank. So what do you love about this garden? Is it the first time you're down here?
I've been throughout the season. It's green. It's fantastic. There's flowers. To be around plants is to be around something that's growing is just so uplifting, and love seeing all the people come out. Love seeing the volunteers from the banks and the accountant firms and other community-based organizations that come out and adopt plots and grow produce both for us and a portion to go to them as well. So it's just such a fantastic way to bring the community together. It's unfortunate that we're sort of winding down, but we'll still be here for the next couple of months for sure.
Yeah, it's been a great harvest season. Now, 20,000 pounds, that seems like a lot of produce, but is there need for more?
Absolutely. As I said, our numbers are going up. Sort of when we look at where we were a year ago and even a year before that, we're seeing the numbers go up all the time. And we are still getting the same amount of support from the people of Saskatoon, which we're absolutely grateful for through different food drives and things like that. But as numbers go up for people actually accessing the food hampers, ultimately we're going to sort of reach our limit of what we can provide. And we're looking at creative ways to kind of offset that need and speaking to community members themselves and figuring out what they want to see happen with their food basket program.
Yes, and speaking of things going up, I'm finding as I go grocery shopping, produce and fresh veggies and fruits like this, the prices are going up every day.
Yeah, this is the scariest thing. I mean, it's the, food that's filled with lots of sugars and oils and is really cheap to produce, and just a lot of quick calories is cheap, and it's easy to fill stomachs that way, but it's not providing the nutrition that we really want to see getting into children's bellies and into families, into their refrigerators. So that's why this garden patch is absolutely important.
Absolutely, especially during the summertime, but of course you can help out through the Saskatoon Food Bank all year round. Head to saskatoonfoodbank.org for more information. Jolene, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Punch TV is the nerdiest show in Saskatoon. If you like comics, movies, games, stellar events, and anything in geekdom, you'll love Punch TV. Host Jody Kaysen takes you in-depth with artists, writers, and guests from across the province, the world, heck, even the galaxy. Plus, regular updates from The Collector, The Movie Geek, and Tweetbeat. Watch Punch TV only on Shaw TV.
Later on Go, we find out how community members can be zen while taking in the beauty of Waskesiu Lake. And a Gardening 101 participant tells us what she's learned through the program.
Hey folks, it's Larry Krause here with the Timberline Music Show. Join me and my special guest for a half hour of great music right here on Shaw TV.
Although gardening season may be coming to an end, the Huskies football season is just kicking off. And while fans may be turning their attention to the gridiron, Simon Hite shows us the players still have to remain focused on their academics.
Now in his 5th year with the Huskies, tailback Shane Buchanan has seen his playing time diminish as the team's ground game has improved. But considering his field of study, head coach Brian Towers might have a legal battle on his hands if any further changes happen.
Yeah, cite a precedent, maybe create some sort of players union, something like that.
Well, that's a lawyer. They're going to have their things, and we see Shane's going to be a good lawyer. We see that in him.
Buchanan not only achieved academic All-Canadian status in one of the most demanding colleges, studying law with a focus on labor relations, He did so after completing a commerce degree. But he admits he underestimated how challenging balancing studying and football would be when he began life as a Husky.
You know, you don't really understand what you're getting into in terms of how busy the football schedule is, but also how busy the school schedule is. So really the most important thing is just time managing and making sure that, you know, you're not wasting any time during a day and you make the most of any free time that you do have.
Defensive lineman Braden Torinsky also takes pride in challenging the stereotype of the dumb jock. He is also an academic All-Canadian, wrapping up a degree in engineering.
I kind of seem a natural fit. You know, I like being challenged, and engineering is definitely one of the most challenging undergraduate degrees you can look at. So that was kind of one of the deciding factors. And plus I'm a science and math kind of guy, so it's tailored pretty nicely to that. You get razzed by the guys for, you know, maybe being the more nerdy type, but you know, it's all fun and games.
Taurus has nicknamed Torinsky Dad for his highly organized manner.
Even from the time he got here as a 17-year-old, he knew everything he was going to do for the entire day, and probably now it's for the next 2 weeks he's got everything mapped out.
And while Taurus stresses that his team has many highly intelligent players, he adds that student athletes like Shane and Braden are special, as the degree of intellect they show in the classroom translates well to the field.
There's a parallel for sure. There's the good academics tend to make the fewest mistakes, and they're also the guys we found over the years that maybe need a little bit less meeting time than the others.
It's just lots of organizational skills and prioritizing everything. You know, there's lots of stuff that goes on in the day, and you know, there's sacrifices that we have to make as well. You know, I don't always get to go out on the weekends with my buddies, but you know, the sacrifice is worth it in the end because we end up accomplishing something here on the field.
For Go on Shaw TV, I'm Simon Hyatt.
There is no better way to spend your time than surrounded by some delicious smelling produce because they haven't quite come out of the garden yet. That is what teams are working on today, Jana. It's time to harvest. What an exciting season. It looks, from what I can see, a pretty good season. What did you think?
Yes, it's been a great season. All that rain and sunshine, perfectly timed, has been absolutely fantastic. We've been able to work here every day in the garden, kind of rained overnight. It was very excellent for a gardener point of view, and that's had early harvest and bountiful harvest.
Speaking of being out here all throughout the summer, you actually offered a program called Gardening 101 Certificate Program. Tell us a bit about that and how you got community members here to the garden.
Yeah, for sure. So that's a partnership with us and the University of Saskatchewan, and we reached out to our community-based organization partners to refer participants who wanted to learn some horticulture skills that are technical but also hands-on and practical in the garden.
Okay, so why offer a program like that?
We want to get people out into the garden and really build that relationship with gardening, with the soil, being out in the community. So it offers skills that are transferable into greenhouse and things like that, but also that relationship with growing food. So this is the pilot year, and the participants have just been loving it. The instructors we brought in to teach from the university, their feedback is also just raving reviews. So we look forward to continuing it, and yeah, everyone has just had a great time, including myself.
Awesome. And moving forward, what do you hope these participants, if they take away a message from the program or a lesson, what do you hope they take away?
Really the basics of food growing, but more importantly, the understanding of ecosystems and that connection with soil and food and health.
Now I have to ask you, since we've been down here so often throughout the summer, the community groups and organizations that come here, what was the atmosphere like here this summer?
Just wonderful. We've had so much participation, more Adopt-A-Plot teams than ever before, more school groups coming in, and just people smiling and enjoying getting their hands dirty.
We are going to be speaking with a participant in the Gardening 101 Certificate Program coming up on today's show, and we're just going to be spending a lot more time in this beautiful garden. Coming up, we'll speak to Linda, a participant in the Gardening 101 certificate program that took place here at the garden, and she's going to tell us why she's enjoyed spending most of her time outdoors this summer. If you enjoy being outdoors, especially by the beautiful Waskesiu Lake, here's more information on yoga classes taking place there and their benefits.
One more breath here, inhale, and exhale, release and fold forward.
Kenley Knock is a yoga instructor, ballet teacher, and entrepreneur. She's felt the benefits of yoga. Now she wants to share those benefits with her clients, so she's bringing the ancient practice back to its roots by teaching yoga outdoors.
I believe that doing yoga in the park is almost the way that it's meant to be done, and it gives us that opportunity to be able to have the view of the lake and the cool breeze, the sun shining on your skin. From here, just turn the wrists down.
Knock was drawn to yoga at an early age.
Middle fingers. I would have been about 13 years old. I asked my mom to buy me a VHS box set of yoga videos.
She got her yoga teacher certification in Vancouver and chose to set up shop in a place that's captured her heart since childhood, Waskesiu, Saskatchewan.
Whenever I teach yoga classes, I talk about being grounded and feeling the earth and the sky, but when you're in a concrete building, it doesn't really seem genuine. So I think it really helps people understand that we really are connected to this earth. Exhale, hands through heart center.
Yoga regulars agree.
You know, I think nature and yoga go hand in hand. It's a proven fact that nature relaxes the mind, and then so does yoga. And so when you do them together, it's bliss, really. It's so good.
Knox started her scheduled yoga classes last fall. Despite the picturesque setting, some days there isn't a lot of participation. But she's hopeful more people will sign up if they give it a try. She's offering free classes at a music festival to help get the word out. Knox says she'll do yoga with anyone who wants to learn.
I've had up to 16 people in a class, but then I've had days where there's only one person who shows up. Each day is equally as important. For me, it's not about how many people show up, it's about the people that show up. It's the people that find their way to you and set out in their day, and they want to be there, they want to support you, and they want to do yoga for themselves. Coming into the pelvis and the left hip wrap.
Ruth Russell says it's a positive experience.
Being out in the park, you just get to hear the birds and you get to hear the lake lapping up with the waves right beside the park, and it's absolutely beautiful out. The sun is shining on you, so you get a tan too.
With summer drawing to a close, Knock has plans for next season. She hopes to grow her lakeside classes and may even have an indoor studio for rainy days. For Go, I'm Lisa Rism.
Linda is holding some pretty amazing looking produce. Proud moments for her since you spent much of your time in this food bank garden patch throughout the summer. Linda, why did you want to get involved in the Gardening 101 certificate program?
It's very therapeutic, and it's very relaxing to be out in the garden and to actually walk around and see where the pollination takes place and where we have bees and other pollinators that move around the garden. It's been really interesting to see it grow from scratch. We started out being part of Select a Garden, and so we selected a plot and planted it through the YWCA and have watched that grow and have gotten some gigantic beets out of it.
That is amazing. Yeah, all the produce here looks so bountiful. I'm so excited for the community to receive this produce. How do you think the community will react to having 20,000 pounds of produce?
Well, I think that it's a really good donation. It's a really good way to give back to your community and to send it on to the food bank so that it can go out to families in need. I think it's just an awesome program, and I hope that that amount doubles for next year.
Yes, I love that. Now, what are some things that you learned through the Gardening 101 program?
My favorite thing that I learned was all about composting, and I've tried different kinds of composting, attended various composting workshops, vermiculture, just various ones where you add to a barrel or you add to other things as well. And you have sometimes a 3-part program where you start it, turn it to the second spot, and then turn it to the third, and then it's ready to use as compost in the garden. And everything that comes out of the garden leaf-wise that is scrap material goes back into the garden, which is really good. There's not a lot of throwaway, not a lot of waste.
I love that. Now, speaking of this beautiful garden, you spent lots of time here from June to August. You're wrapping up your program now. This is the first time you've been down to the Food Bank Garden Patch Garden. What do you think?
I love it. I really recommend other groups, organizations get involved, adopt a plot, look after it, and help to harvest it over the season. It's really neat to see a seed grow into a plant, plant grow fruit, and then that fruit becomes a really good vegetable that you can give to another person and help to feed people that really need our help.
All right, well, it looks great. So you enjoy that produce. You've done a lot of hard work to get that. Thank you so much, Linda. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Nice to talk to you as well.
For months, Shaw employees have been working hard maintaining our garden plot, but now it's time to harvest. I may not be working as hard as some, but you just can't beat the atmosphere here at the garden. Speaking of a pretty cool atmosphere, the Barn Playhouse is located just outside of the city, and it's bringing theater to community members in a pretty unique way.
Welcome here, and we know you're going to enjoy the evening.
Vicky Dick is always ready for guests. In fact, on some nights she can expect to receive hundreds of visitors to her home 25 kilometers north of Saskatoon.
You know, every now and then it hits me, we used to milk cows in that barn, or, oh yeah, that's where the cats used to be, and your mind kind of jumps back and forth, or all these people on our yard coming to visit.
Year-round, Vicky and her two sisters welcome community members from across Saskatchewan to their family farm, a place that once used to shelter animals but now houses theater sets, props, and acts as a venue for theatrical productions.
35 years ago I started teaching, was teaching high school theater, and after about 10 years I kept thinking it would be nice to continue on with these kids who are becoming adults now and keep working with them. So that's where the idea for the community theater started. So I ended my teaching career and moved into community theater, and the best place I could think of that would be rent-free was my parents' farm. And so we cleaned it out and tried it for one summer, and it did so well that we tried it a second, and well, now we've been here for 25 years.
Aside from experiencing theater in a unique setting, guests of the Barn Playhouse are encouraged to come early to take in the whole package.
People come out early, they sit down, listen to music, have good food made by neighbors, and they relax, and then they come into the theater. It's a bit of nostalgia, driving out from the city, taking 15 minutes to get here, and just slowing down their world a bit.
The barn is lovely. They've done a great job of making it a quality theater experience, but it does still have that rustic sort of homegrown feel, which is, I think, really nice. And I think that that's unique compared to other theater experiences. Definitely more intimate. The seating actually is on 3 sides of the stage. So what's cool about that is that the audience, I think, really feels engaged in what's happening because everybody is very close to the action.
All actors involved are volunteers, some as young as 8 years old, a valuable aspect of the theater company as it gives young actors a chance to work with those more experienced. Meredith can attest to this as she has a long history with the Barn Playhouse.
I was actually a munchkin in the play 22 years ago when they did it the first time. For myself, I was always really highly involved in school plays and productions and things like that, but For me, bringing my talents to the barn was a way that I could actually have that exposure, working with other actors who had more experience than me, working with a real director, you know, performing in front of people that I didn't know, larger audiences, and running shows that lasted more than, you know, 1 or 2 nights. Yeah, I think it's just a great opportunity for young people to sort of test the waters and see if they really have a passion for it.
11-year-old Faith Peacock says the work she's done through the barn has reassured her of her aspirations to one day be on Broadway, and the skills she's learned will help her as a professional.
It was lots of fun, learning all the choreography, meeting a whole bunch of friends. I have learned never to look people in the eye in the audience. I have also learned to sing loud and and smile all the time and sing proud. I am very grateful. I love the Barn Playhouse, I love the Wizard of Oz, and I just love being here.
For more information on the Barn Playhouse and its upcoming shows or events, visit barnplayhouse.com.
He lives in the Emerald City. It was a very long journey from here. Did you bring your broomstick with you?
Hey everyone! I still can't believe how different this garden looks from planting everything at the end of May to harvesting now in September. More than 20,000 pounds of produce will help families in need in our community. Of course, if you want to help families in need through the Saskatoon Food Bank, you can do so all year round. Head to saskatoonfoodbank.org for all that information. Thanks so much for joining us on today's show. We'll see you next time.